and welcome to my stamp studio. It is Wednesday, March 12th, and it is our Hump Day Lunch Break. Hope you're grabbing your lunch today and joining me for a little crafting fun. I'm just getting my comments going on the other page here on the side of me on my computer. So if you're joining me, say hello. Let me know what's for lunch today. And we're going to get started in just a minute. We're just waiting for a couple of people to hop on here. Make sure that I'm broadcasting. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start sharing what we're going to be using today. So today we're going to be using our You Are Remarkable. It is one of our new online exclusive stamp sets. We'll be using our Stays On ink. And I'm going to be using the watercolor pencils, the assortment one. There are two different ones that you can get. This one has the white, so I tend to use my white most often, as well as my daffodil. So we're going to be using a couple different colors out of there. We'll actually be using daffodil, melon mambo, white, and early espresso. So that is taken from our watercolor pencils. And I will list all the items that we're using today in the description, or if it's on Facebook, it'll be in the comments. The next thing that we'll be pulling in is going to be a package of our blender pens so I can blend our pencils. And I'll be pulling in our Granny Apple Green stamp pad, as well as, to finish off everything, we're going to be using our Party Dots and our Black and Vanilla ribbon. So let's get started on today's project. I'm just going to move some things off to the side a little bit. I need to grab one of these blender pens here. And we're just going to pull it out. So it does come in a 3-pack. I only need one. You can clean it off in between usage, and I'll show you how we're going to do that. So we'll move these off to the side, and we'll get in our cardstock here. And I have dimensionals, because we're going to definitely use dimensionals, and I have a scrap piece of white for my sentiment. One of the awesome things about this stamp set is I actually did design a class, and it's part of my March Madness Trifecta classes. You can choose one class or all 3 classes. I will be going live on, actually, my videos will be going live on March 15th, both on YouTube and Facebook. So you'll be able to watch the class, and if you decide that you'd like to purchase a class, I will provide a link for you to at least indicate that. I can't actually put the link right to class registration because I am including the stamp sets with each of these classes. So I'm going to quickly show you just a little sneak peek of those cards. And let me just get them right here. They're off to my side. So I've got 1, 2, 3. And I've done another card with this the other day. Okay. I can't find all of them, so I'm just going to show you 3 of them from this bundle. Okay, so this is one of the classes that you'll be doing, and this is using one of our new exclusive stamp sets, and that stamp set is, oh, let's see, where did I put it? Oh, I put it away. Wouldn't you know? Let me go grab it. It's called, it's okay, oops. That's not the right one. It's the Tags of Thanks stamp set. So this class, you actually get 5 cards, and you get all the supplies to make all the cards. I'm doing the die cutting and everything for you, giving you your designer series paper, your embossed piece. You just need your ink and your stamps. Your stamps are going to be included in the class. All right, you'll get that stamp set. The next one is the You Are Remarkable, which is the stamp set that we're using today. So here's just a peek at those cards. Let me get that out of the way. Oops. So you'll be making your own designer series paper. And then our third class is probably, I'm torn between the 2 classes. So I've got the Resourceful Rusty and the You Are Remarkable. I love them both. I don't know which is more my favorite, but this is the third class, and you'll be making these cards. Again, all of your die cuts will be done for you. You just need your stamps and your inks and your adhesive. So that is those classes. So again, that's our March Trifecta class, which launches on Saturday. And again, if you want to purchase one of those classes, I'll provide a link to you to say, hey, Beth, send me the email so I can register for this, because that's the only way I can do it when I'm including a stamp set with the class. So let's get back to today's class though, or today's card. So I have crumb cake, and it is measured 4 1/4 by 11. Simply fold it in half. And then I have another piece of crumb cake that is 4 by 5 1/4. This is the one we're going to be stamping on. And then my scrap piece of white. So let's start with our stamping. Because I'm using watercolor pencils and I'll be using my blender pen, I need to make sure that I am using my solvent ink. So I'm using my Stays On ink. I'm going to open that up. Now, one of the things, I'm just going to close up for now. I always close it right after I'm done stamping. This ink evaporates pretty quickly, so it dries very fast. So a couple of tips with this: stamp, cover your case, and then clean your ink, your stamp right away. All right. Let me just get the stamp that we're going to be using. So we're going to be using this largest one right here. Make sure I can get that in the video. All right, and we're going to stamp that right off to our right-hand side here. So I'm going to go ahead and ink this up. Now, a lot of times when I have a larger stamp, I like to flip it over and take my ink to my stamp versus my stamp to my ink. So again, I'm going to cover that up right away. I'm going to go ahead and stamp that. All right. And I'm going to make sure that I clean it. So make sure you have a Stays-On cleaner. So I'm going to just go ahead and rub some of that cleaner right on here, and then I'm going to take it over to my scrub here and do it this way. My preference is not to use my chamois when I'm using my Stays-On remover. I like to use this one. I'm just not sure what it will do to the chamois, so I go ahead and clean it that way. And then I can always rinse this underwater. All right, so I've got that one done. We're going to go ahead and bring in one more stamp here. And I'm going to use my Granny Apple Green at this point. And yeah, you can stamp and color right on your colored cardstock. Depends on what, colors you're using. But this is Granny Apple Green. I'm going to look through this right here, and I can kind of see my outline there. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp this. I just need to adjust a little bit more. There we go. And ta-da! How pretty is that? So I'm going to go ahead and clean that one off. Okay, we'll cover this one up. We'll move those out of the way for the moment. Let's bring in our watercolor pencils. I'm going to start with my Early Espresso, and I'm just going to kind of scribble in the center of my flower. And then I'm going to bring in my blending pen, and I'm going to go ahead and use my other end because I used that one first. And I'm just going to blend that together. Now, when you're doing this, the more you rub on your cardstock, the more you're going to break it down. So just be careful with that. Now to clean it, I'm just going to bring in this. I'm going to go back and forth. I'm not scribbling back and forth. I'm lifting between, and I'm just getting that color off. All right. Now, let's bring in our white. And I'm going to go ahead and just color my petals in here. Now, I actually need to bring in a little scrap piece of just cardboard here. And just need to get a piece off here. Let's see if I have another piece handy. The reason I'm doing that is because I have a mat on my desktop, and so it's not really a solid surface. So I just need to have a solid surface to color on so that my pencil lands on there really well. I'm just looking for a piece of cardboard here, and here we go. So I'm grabbing this from one of my past paper pumpkin kits. And we'll go ahead and color. So you can see it colors much darker on there, right? I'm going to leave a little bit of room because I'm going to add my yellow in there. So I'm mainly doing it with white, and I'm just turning my card as I go. Just easier to do that with. Again, I'm just adding some of that white in there. I'm going to come back in with my daffodil now, and I'm just going to add a little bit of color right through here. Again, I'm scribbling. I'm not coloring this in full. You can. definitely you can do that. But because I'm going to use my blending pen, my blender pen, and I'm going to be pulling that color out. So where I didn't have color before, I'm going to do my white first. Pull that out a little bit. It just softens that pencil, and if you have pencil lines, it kind of takes care of those. So we're just going to keep going all the way around here, pulling the color where I didn't color in with pencil. All right, so now I'm going to start pulling in that yellow, and I'm going to start blending it into my other colors, just so it's more subtle and you don't see any pencil lines. All right, so there we go, just like that. I'm going to just go ahead and bring in my scrap, clean my blender pen. Go ahead and do that. All right, next thing, I'm going to bring in my ribbon, and this is our black and vanilla gingham ribbon, and I'm just going to tie a bow off to my side here. Now I tie a bow wherever, you know, it is easiest to tie, and then I just move slide my bow. I don't have it adhered to my card front yet, so I'll be able to do that. I can adjust the size of it. All right, that looks great. I'll go ahead and bring in my ribbon scissors, trim that down really quick. All right, just like that. And slide it over. If your bow is really tight and you can't slide it, just curl your cardstock a little bit, and then you can move your bow over. I am just going to actually take my bow here and kind of turn it so it's a little bit on the side. We'll make it a little smaller. And we'll trim this down just a tad. All right, gave it a nice little haircut. Okay, so I can just move that over just like that. We're going to take our sentiment here, and I'm going to stamp "Flowers are friends in the garden of life." I think that's what I have here. Nope. All right, let's see. Well, where did my sentiment go? Hold on. Here it is. Just completely overlooking it. All right, there we go. And I want to drop it on my work surface just so I can get it straight. And we'll bring this back in. Now I can either stamp it in black or the Granny Apple Green. I'm going to see how it looks in black. If I don't like it, I'll flip my cardstock over. So again, I'm just tapping on that, stamping on it. Now I don't want to leave my, oh, I didn't stamp it very straight. Okay, let's flip it over. What was I saying? I lost my train of thought there. I don't want to hold my stamp with my ink on my cardstock for very long, because what happens is this will stick and then kind of pull up funny on your paper. So again, just taking my Stays On cleaner. And we do, Stampin' Up! Does sell that. So you can get it from my Stampin' Up! Store. The container is a little different. That's just an old one I had. All right, so now you can see it's not stained. Sometimes when you're using that, if you stamp it off on paper first and then clean it, it won't stain. Sometimes they will. It'll stain just like a little bit of a yellowy stain. It's okay. It's not going to transfer to other projects as long as you're cleaning it. All right, let's just put our stamps away here. Put my block away. And I got our scissors to put away. Let's bring in our card base and our card front here. And if I wanted, I could add a couple more flowers. You know, I think I'm going to. I'm going to add in a couple more flowers. So I can just simply slide my bow off. I just decided I'd like that little pink flower on there. So let's go ahead, pull back in our flower. I'm going to grab a scrap piece of paper here. Just find a scrap. Okay. So I made some scribble notes on there, sorry. All right, and I know that I just really want to get part of that flower. I don't need my whole thing stamped. And we'll go ahead and We'll put this one maybe over here. I'm going to stamp it just a little, get a little more ink on there. I'm going to stamp it up a little bit higher because I know my bow is going to be there. All right, so that's one. And we'll stamp one more. And I'm just going to stamp this one off to the side. Just like that. All right, we'll cover our Stays On pad. Go ahead and stamp that off a little bit. Bring in our cleaner. Again, one of the most important things when you're using Stays On, clean your stamp right away, because it will stain. And if you notice, I had it on my blocks, so I'm going to put some cleaner on there too, because this will stain. That's its intended use. It's kind of, think of it like a Sharpie marker. You get a Sharpie marker on things, it's going to be permanent. All right. So let's come back in. I'm going to grab my Granny Apple Green. We're going to stamp our leaves again. So yeah, so I'm changing it up from my own original design. I do that sometimes. Sometimes as I'm going through, I'm like, ooh, you know, this would be better. Do you ever do that? Okay, I'm just lining up my leaves right there. Not perfectly lined up, but that's okay. I'm all right with that. And this one goes, let's see, right here. Right there. All right. So again, I'm making my own designer series paper here. I don't need a lot of supplies. I've got my stamps and my ink. We're just going to add a few things to really pop it up by adding our dots, by adding our ribbon. Okay, we can get that out of the way. Let's go ahead and color our flowers. Again, I'm going to take my Early Espresso and color that in. And over here. Okay, let's go ahead. We're going to make this one right down here in our Melon Mambo. Okay, I'm not coloring all the way out to the edges. I'm just coloring some of it. Again, scribbling. Let's get this to get a little bit more solid. And I don't have to worry about my watercolor pencil, you know, drying out. All right, here we go. I'm going to take my yellow. I'll do my yellow over here. So our daisies come in different colors. So I'm just trying to show you different mediums that you can use. Now, if you have markers, you could do the same thing with your Stays On stamp, your Stays On ink, and that. So now again, I'm just going to pull my color out. Where is it? Just blending in those pencil lines, just to be a little more smooth here. I must have had ink on my hand. That's okay. We'll color that little blemish there with a dot. It will be all good. All right. We'll clean this, and then we'll move on to our next color. This is a really flexible way to have a lot of different colors and not have to worry about having so many ink pads. So this is an option for someone who is just starting. If you like to color and not sure what color ink pads that you really want, start with the markers or the watercolor pencils, and you get, you know, the feel for the colors that you gravitate to more. And then you can go ahead, get that in. And now I'm going to go to my dark, my Early Espresso there, and just blend in those lines a little bit. Okay, cleaning it off. There we go. We'll slide back on our bow. So to do that, I'm going to curl my paper up a little bit. I'm not curling it so it bends, so just keep that in mind. And we'll just slide it over, just like that. We'll slide it down just a little bit. There we go. All right, we'll bring this in. I'm going to trim it down, and I'm just going to bring in my trimmer here and we're going to go right here. And I want to trim my top just a tad because that was kind of a rough edge. So I'm going to go ahead and do that same thing right here. Okay, there we go. Okay, and I'm going to put this right on the front here. That's it. I'm going to trim it down a little bit more. All right, I'll just use the scissors. And snip there. I might as well just... So if you want perfectly straight lines, use your trimmer. I'm okay with this. All right, so I'm going to cover that just a little bit, but I do like how that is. So I'm going to bring in my dimensionals here, which I had a little earlier. I'm going to put those in the back. Okay. All right, so here we go. I'm going to add some dimensionals to the back of this one, and we're going to put this right onto our card base. What I do like about this is I don't have to worry about, if I'm using like my blends, I don't have to worry about it, you know, seeping through, you know, kind of going through my cardstock. This will not. All right, so here's this. Let's get our card embellished in the front. So again, I'm taking the party dots. And I'll grab my take a pick tool here. Pick up my dots and just randomly place it. I'm going to grab, you know, pink and yellow here. Pink one for maybe up here, right where that blemish was. And we need one more here. So let's grab another pink one. And I'll grab a large pink one here and put it right over here. Okay, so we have that. So that is the front of our card. Now let's go ahead, go on the inside of our card. I'm going to bring back in my scrap again. And we'll bring in our flower. Ink that up just a little bit. You know, if I'm coloring, I may as well really color. And this time I'm going to put it on this side. Right here, just like that. Oops, see how I left it too long and it stuck. Pretty much you gotta press it down and then lift it up right away. And there we go. All right. Ow, that pinched me. Let's grab our green. Look right through there and stamp our leaves. There we go. It's okay if it's not perfect. It's homemade, right? Why do you need perfect when it's homemade? Okay. Get this out of the way. I'm going to bring this in so I can do my coloring again. And choose whichever color you like best to color your flowers. I really do like how that pink is pretty vibrant. So I'm going to go with that Melon Mambo again. And okay, I'm just coloring. I'm going to bring my blender pen back so I can color that. So I'm coloring it darker on the inside towards the inner part of my flower there. And I'll just lightly put some color here so you can get a little bit of, you know, differentiation in there. Okay, let's bring back in our blend. The darker the color is, a little bit easier it is to drag the color out a little bit. The lighter colors, you don't notice it as much. It still does the trick. It just isn't as noticeable. See how some of that darker color is pulling out as I drag this along. Again, I'm not trying to go back and forth too much on my cardstock. I don't want it to break down. It's just the nature of cardstock. All right. Okay, and let's see, get the last ones here. Get wherever I feel like I need a little more color. All right, go ahead and take our scrap piece here and just clean that off. We'll pull in our, excuse me, early espresso there. Blend that around. Now, I know it doesn't seem like I'm picking up my pen, like I'm going back and forth. I'm actually picking it up as I go. All right, so just making sure I got all the color off so it doesn't blend in with another color later on. All right, so that is today's lunch break card. Hope you enjoyed that. Again, it is using our You Are Remarkable stamp set, and I do have a online class that's going to be published on Saturday, so check it out. And if you like the cards that you see and want that stamp set and card class, you can definitely sign up for it. And what I need is your email address, but please, please, please don't put your email address in the comments. Message me, okay? That will tell me that you want it. If you're watching on YouTube, there'll be a link in the description for a form for you to fill out for an online exclusive class information. Just click on that, put in your information, and I will know right away to send you that information. These 3 classes will be available until March 17th, so Monday. Maybe I'll extend it to Tuesday. You know what? I will. We'll extend it to March 18th. But that way you have a chance to watch the video, see if you like the class, and want it sent to you. All right. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. And tomorrow night, it is Stampin' Fun and More on my Facebook Live, and I'll be sharing some other projects with you. I do copy that up to YouTube, so check it out. Make sure that you are subscribed to my YouTube channel. Here's a big one for my Facebook followers. Make sure that you go over and sign up for YouTube, okay? It's super easy. You don't even have to have an account. I would recommend it so that YouTube can let you know when I post a new video. It's super easy. There's no commitment. It is free. But this way you'll be able to access my videos for as long as they're out there. Facebook is going to be discontinuing videos after 30 days. So any of my old videos will fall off of Facebook after 30 days. So I recommend sign up for YouTube. I will put that in the comments for the Facebook followers, and it will also on YouTube. You can click the little subscribe button. All right, bye. Take care.